Greetings everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed here and welcome back to Fatal 12. We only have 4 contestants left in the Divine Selection, including Rinka, Mahalu, Frederico and Alan. Scale was one that was eliminated in the last time, and he resorted to such desperate tactics to get information from Rinka that he resorted to kidnapping Rinka's grandmother. How shameful, how evil, how unjustice-like. So now, how could I forget something that important? So this took place in the past when I think Rinka and Mahalu met for the first time in the park, which is the Divine Selection's final destination. It doesn't feel like I've had a nightmare when I jolt awake. I normally wake up in a cold sweat whenever that man appears in my dreams. Meow. Looks like Levy poured the covers off of me at some point. That explains why I feel so cold. Actually, it's got nothing to do with the temperature. It's got more to do with the fact I remember the man appearing in my dreams. I'm not sure why, but I completely forget about him until now. That's right, he's appeared a number of times before. Some theories claim that the brain organizes one's memories while they sleep, which results in our dreams. It may be possible to dream about past events that you've forgotten based on the theory, but the dreams I have feel more like I'm literally reliving those events. Dreams. Pastor said that the dream world represents a wealth of possibilities. In that case, they might not be mere memories, but the representation of a world that could be. Who in the world is that man? Meow? Yeah. Probably pointless to rely on left for an answer. Who knows? Maybe that world has dreams of the past as well. Then again, I can't say whether or not cats even dream in the first place. Aww. Ugh, I can't believe I forgot something that important. I really am a horrible. I wonder if Mahalu remembers those days. Then again, it's Mahalu we're talking about. She definitely does. She probably noticed I'd forgotten and decided not to bring it up. Those events feel heavier than her confession somehow. In fact, it might even be possible that she's liked me ever since those days. Maybe I'm thinking too highly of myself, but it would explain why she hates saying goodbye. I still need to give her an answer. I feel my cheeks heat up as I recall her confession. It's almost been a week. I wonder if there's a time limit or something for people on the receiving end of a confession. It'd help if someone told me. I'll put it off for just a bit longer. If she asks me about it, I'll apologise and explain. Alan and Frederico are still at large, so I don't want to answer her until I settle things with them. Okie dokie. They are still at large. We don't know what Frederico is up to. Morning, Winnie. Coming to school every Monday has been something of a cathartic experience for me lately. It's proof that I'm able to live and see another week. Mahalu is already there by the time I arrive, so we spend some time chatting until class starts. Once lunch rolls around, I make my way to the rooftop as usual. Meanwhile, Mal stays in class so she can finish up the homework that needs to be handed in during 5th period. Homework given to us last Tuesday, might I add. I finished it the day we got it, so I get to chill and enjoy my lunch. After some small talk, I decide to bring up an important topic. Hey Mahalu, about what happened in the court of fate last night. I'm referring to the decision between Frederico and Parser about whether or not her vessel has access to her powers. While it turns out that isn't the case, Parser did say that she retains the ability to alter fate even from within her vessel. That statement seemed to take Mahalu by surprise. You already know my regrets, so I'm fine with telling you. Parser likely knows my feelings for you as well. My surprise was from realizing that she may have had a hand in us meeting again here at Matcha. Apparently Mahalo had wanted to see me again ever since that day. That never came about due to her family circumstances though. They moved to the countryside not long after our last meeting, and they did it because her dad caused an accident in which a child lost their life. Oh dear. Not only did the family get ostracized by the locals, but they faced harassment as well. They refused to let Mahalo attend a nearby elementary school with things like that. Once they moved to the countryside, they started using her mother's maiden name instead of her father's. The accident left her father mentally impaired and unable to hold a standard job. It eventually led, oh gosh, when she was in 6th grade. Gosh. Mahalo's Maharu's father couldn't bear to live with what he did. Some say he was irresponsible, but I disagree, of course. It turns out that I inherited his weakness. Was Maharu's as well? I know this, but I never asked why. It might be best I never know, in truth. Maharu continues her story. Her father's, it incited rumours of the accident he caused to spread. The results were even more fierce in such a small rural area. It led to her entire family having to move once again. Having returned to Tokyo, Maharu chose to enter Amacha because it offered scholarships to middle school students and it carried appeal to those wishing to attend college. She only knew my name at the time, so the chances of our meeting again were slim, especially when you consider I wasn't part of any clubs or particularly well known. Even so, Maharu's wish to find me again never faltered. She figured she would have the best chance by going to a school in Tokyo. Just as when I was ready to give up, we reunited in high school. You are somehow more cute and charming than I remembered. Yeah, at first I considered it nothing short of a miracle. But if what if past that altered fate knowing how I felt about you? Why would she bother? So she could enjoy watching us struggle against one another, knowing full well that we'd both be participants. Let's not forget how... Hey, are you saying that Rinko is not smart? Let's not forget how high the standards are for a match compared to your midterm grades. There's no way you would have gotten accepted without a fairly big push from fate itself. What was that? A backhanded compliment? I figured she was joking at first as a way to lighten the mood, but judging by her reaction to my comment, she's serious. Ouch, my pride. Yes, I can't blame her. She's been aware of my middling grade since my acceptance, but still, being told I'm an idiot to my face sucks. Sorry, now isn't the appropriate time to discuss this. No, it's fine.
私だってちゃんと勉強すればそれなりの点数は取れるしね。高校受験の時は頑張ったし、自分の実力だって言い切れるよ。
No, it's fine. You worry too much. I can do pretty well on exams if I actually put in the effort. That's why what I did to get in here. So I'm not about to chalk it up to pastors' influence alone.
それに、もし女神が運命を変えて私たちが再会したんだとしてもさ。今日まで過ごしてきた事実がなくなるわけじゃない。
Let's say that she did have a hand in our reunion though. The time we've spent together since then is still ours. I'm confident in that claim. There's no denying that fate can be and has been altered through divine selection. The results may not be perfect, but it's clear that there's a power we cannot begin to comprehend at play. Still, that doesn't make the time we've spent together meaningless.
ああ、そうだね。
Yes, you are.
余計な心配だった。
Yeah, you're right. I must be worrying over nothing. After saying that, she offers a pleasant smile. Her hair dances with a gentle breeze.
ところで、僕に疑われないように、期末テストはちゃんと勉強するんだよ。こんな状況だけれど、君にはこれからも学校生活があるんだから。
Incidentally, remember to study for finals. It might be hard for you, all things considered, but know that you have your whole life ahead of you after this is over with.
三春もでしょ。私の意見は変わらないよ。
Same to you, Maharu. My stance won't change. The bell rings soon after. It goes to show how long we've been talking. We clean up in a hurry and make our way to class. She never asked about my answer to her confession, despite our being alone. I feel bad about that. Despite us being alone, I feel bad about that. One feels bad about that. Miharu feels bad about it. Mishima Miharu watches Rinka from behind as they make their way back to their classroom. She is under the impression that Rinka has forgotten about their meeting when they were children. Her attitude makes it apparent that she remembers those events, but Miharu understands that either her confession with regret card triggered Rinka's memory. She doesn't mind if Rinka forgot, considering how long ago it was. In fact, it would be a bigger issue if she does remember, based on her attitude towards Miharu. Miharu is willing to forgive Rinka no matter what she does, though. More importantly, Miharu didn't actually recognize Rinka at first. Where? Okay. It was Miharu's first year at a mecha. She often found herself alone due to a lack of friends besides Mao. Her superb grades and looks caused others to avoid her for reasons only they understood. One day, soon after starting high school, she was on the rooftop by herself, as Mao had business elsewhere. The scar, okay, already present. However, due to being alone, she had forgotten to keep them out of sight.
痛くないの。
Didn't that hurt? The school year had just begun, so she didn't know the name of that girl. At first she thought they might be from middle school due to their height, but the uniform ran counter to her assumption. Miharu made no attempt to answer their thoughtless question. She was panicking over the possibility of her wrists being seen. Doubly so due to rumors that had begun to spread.
ま、いいけどさ。ここ、開放されてたんだね。私も、ちょっと風を浴びたかったから。
Well, whatever. Not my business. I'm glad rooftops are open to us, though. I was hoping to enjoy the breeze. After they said that, they sat down right next to Miharu. Miharu swears to herself that she won't speak to them. She gazes toward the horizon instead. They never did try to say anything else to her, though. Miharu eventually caved and braved a glance at the girl. They were gazing into the distance as well. Something sparked within Miharu the moment she looked over. She knew she was right, and yet she couldn't bring herself to speak. Oh, there's the bell. Saying that, the girl stood up to leave. Much to Miharu's surprise, she found herself far too nervous to give any kind of response. Well,
またね。
till next time. The innocuous event was all it took to set Miharu free. It only took her till that afternoon to learn that the girl's name was Shishimai Rinka, and by the end of the next day, they and Mao had become close enough to have lunch and go home together. Naw. Rinka has yet to give her an answer. Miharu is still able to smile when she looks at her despite that, however. However what? The school's entrance. I head back home as soon as class is over. Miharu left in a hurry due to work, while Naomi has other things to do. Mao's normally the one to ask if she wants to head home together, so I left without her. I hear the sound of someone racing up behind me on my way though. Rennie! I guess Mao has decided to chase after me.
どうしたの？
What's up, Mao?
リータンさ、ミハルにまだ返事してないでしょ。
No, you still haven't given Mahalaran an answer, haven't you? Nope.
ま、リータンらしいですな。 ちゃんと考えてるってことだもんね。
You know, these sort of decisions are not meant to be taken lightly, you know. Well, that's very you of you. Shows that you're giving it a lot of thought.
きっといろんなこと考えてるでしょう。ミハルの告白のことだけじゃなくて。
What, that is correct. I'm sure you've got plenty else on your mind too, including unrelated stuff.
リータンの今一番考えないといけないこと。やらなくちゃいけないこと。
We
それ
do.
が終わるまで答えは出せないってことだもんね。
We do. We have 2 obstacles in our way. Well, 3 after that.
オッケー。だから返事はもうしばらく時間かかりますってミハルにそれとなく伝えておくね。
No, just don't. Right, so in that case, I'll do you a solid and tell her that it'll take you a bit longer. Mao? Times like this make me wonder if she really isn't involved in device selection at all. I know deep down that she isn't, though. While she can seem dense at first blush, Mao can pick up on the most subtle cues. In fact, she might know more about us and the changes in our behavior than we do ourselves.
大丈夫。マオ様に任せなさい。
No worries. Just leave it to Mao.
だから時間がかかっても答えはちゃんと決めること。どっちに転んでもうちらは変わんないからさ。いや、付き合った場合は。ってあれ？これ2回目だね。
Make sure it's set on your answer, even if it takes a while to find. Remember, nothing change, no matter how you respond. Well, I guess it means would if you... Wait, we've had this conversation already.
あ、ついでに言っておくと、ナオリンも感づいてるっぽいよ。
Oh yeah, might as well mention that Naomi's probably caught on by now, too.
マジ
Really?
大マジ。ま、だからどうってことでもないんだけどね。
As real can be.
また明日。
Not that it matters though. See you tomorrow. Mao dashes off in front of me after saying her piece. There's no one who shows their consideration quite like Mao, although that was a huge relief for me. She made it clear that I have time to think and answer when I'm good and ready. My priority isn't how our relationship will develop moving forward, it's figuring out how to make sure we both survive. There's got to be like an ending where they do survive. There are multiple endings to this game. I'm pretty sure I've probably gone past 2 bad endings, probably 3, I don't know. I change into some clothes. I don't mind getting dirty when I get home. My gran asked me to do something for her, so today I'm keeping the store closed so I can finally get around to it. Clean her room, I mean. She had planned on coming home this week for a bit, and that got cancelled thanks to scale. When she'd get another chance, it was anyone's guess, so she asked me to clean her room for her. I actually got scolded for not having cleaned it already, but that's only because I thought it would be better not to mess with her stuff. I'll start cleaning it regularly after today. There's something else I need to do in here though. What exactly is that? Why are we here?
お帰りなさいま。いってらっしゃいませ。
Welcome back and goodbye, hopefully forever. Mahalo attempts to greet her customers per usual, but she switches gears the moment she sees their face. It's none other than Frederico. The fact that he's here means that he has business with her. She shows him to his seat and then brings him some water. Leaving him to another staff member is too risky, so she decides to wait on him herself. Nope. Hey, when's your shift end?
店長に言って出入り禁止にしてもらおうか。
Shall I answer that by having my manager ban you for life?
そいつは困る。事情があってな。あの店はもう出入り禁止になっちまったんだ。
Yeah, I'm only banned from one place.
話をしたくてここまで来たんだ。
So do me a favor and cut me some slack. Anyway, I'm only here to talk, so chill. It isn't hard for her to figure that he's referring to Milk Crown. She isn't aware of the specifics, but chances are it involved him getting blackout drunk. More importantly, something seems off about him to her. He seems far more composed than usual, almost like he has completely changed since we last saw him. What's up?
なんでもないよ。 そうだ
Hmm.
な。あと1時間ほど待っていてくれないかい。
Do you
そう
mind?
すれば休憩に入るから僕がここに来よう。
Do you mind waiting another hour or so? We can talk during my break.
ああ、そうだ。とりあえずワインリストをもらえるか。
Sure, works for me. Mind bringing me a wine list, Ben?
残念ながらそんなものはこの店にはないよ。あるのは偽物の愛情がこもったまずいコーヒーだけさ。
Well, myself, I'll take the bitter coffee any day over wine. We don't serve any wine here, I'm afraid. All we have is bitter coffee filled to the brim with the pretense of love.
じゃ、そいつを一つ。
Guess I'll have one of those then. He pulls out a book after giving his order. It's a book that seems unusual for a man like him, not on a visual level. The cover suits his image quite well, rather, its contents are a collection of works from a famous painter. Maharu casts her mind back to when she and Odette went to an art exhibition focused on the very same artist. Clues. Cleaning room. I retreat to my bedroom after an hour or so of cleaning. Dealing with 2 months worth of dust is tougher than expected. Lots of vacuuming, not to mention the initial round of dusting. Doesn't help that she's got everything nice and organised, so I have to be extra careful. I'll need to do this on a regular basis. I'm about halfway done now, so it feels like an appropriate time to take a break.
おばあちゃん。
Gran. I give my thoughts room to breathe. Okay, I give my thoughts room to breathe. Okay, clean her room doesn't bother me at all. It just hurts when I think that I won't see her here again for a while longer. In all honesty, I'd be lying if I said I don't hold a grudge against Scale for what he did. The sadness I feel over her not coming home far outweighs it, though.
よし。
Okay,
続きだ。
round 2. I guzzle half of my sports drink before getting back to work. Getting one back to work. Ah, the Lion King. Lion House. Alan Scorpion finds himself standing outside the Lion House. A sign declaring its closure for the day causes him to sigh.
そうか。
Bad timing. While a common sight for the store regulars, it is a spot for bad luck for Alan. He wants to discuss things properly with Rinka. He could do it over the phone, seeing as he has her number, but he wants to see the look in her eyes as he does it.
仕方ないか。
So be it. Alan abandons his plan and sets off to find somewhere else to satisfy his hunger. Ah, I would have happily served Alan a nice coffee. He's a good lad, he is.
待たせたね。
A good man. Sorry for the wait. Federico has long since finished his coffee by the time Maharu comes over to see him. He closes the book and cuts to the chase,
アラン・スコーピオンの死因を教えてくれ。
telling me Alan Scorpio's cause of death. The contrast between him doing this and his typical attitude takes Maharu aback. Federico notices this, but opts not to address it.
スケールと組んでいた時、ユウを脱落させたら教えてもらうって約束をしていたはずだろ。
You know, the orchestrator of that agreement was done by a man who's no longer here, so therefore, I don't think so, Federico. We made an agreement that you'd tell us after you was
オレ
eliminated.
ットが独自で動いたことや、スケールがあんたを指名したことでなあなあになっていたが、俺にもその情報を知る権利があるはずだ。
Things might have gone a bit muddled with Odette going rogue and Scale trying to eliminate you, but I still have a right to know. His attitude continues to surprise her. She had him pegged as a far more bash and careless person, the type that could never truly be cruel to another. That impression remained firm even during the latest round of divine selection. He even seemed the same when he first arrived at the restaurant, but everything changed the moment he took his seat.
なるほど。
You have a point? She takes a moment to think before answering. Ignoring him outright is one option, but he seems to hold no hostility towards her, adding the fact that he seems worth talking to right now, and
問題は2つある。ただし、どうやらここで話す話題ではないようだ。君が出禁になってしまったあの店、どうにかして交渉できないかい？
we could just go back or go to somewhere else. There are two issues I have with it, but this isn't quite the place to discuss either. Is there any way you could get yourself back into that bar's good graces?
しかし、それもそうか。わかった。なんとかする。
Guess you're right. Fine. Fine. I'll see what I can do. This is absolutely not the place to discuss anything related to divine selection. Mahalo is confident he'll be able to sort something out, although that confidence still has in him perplexes her. After arranging to meet in 3 hours, Federico pays his bills and leave. Bill of the coffee. And phew. Night has fallen by the time I finished cleaning Gran's room. Getting it all out of the way today was a good call, at least. It looks nice and clean now. All that's left to do is to wash the windows on Saturday. I take a nice warm shower to wash off all of that sweat and dust. Ideally, I'd follow that up by crawling to bed and sleeping, but there's something else I need to do first. I take a deep breath and turn my attention to a certain book. It really is the same. Ah, this book. It looks exactly the same as my card book. The one major difference is that this one is far more worn than mine, to the extent it looks like it'll fall apart without proper care. The colour and decoration on it are practically the same too, although hers feels somehow more unique than my card book, almost like it was handcrafted as opposed to being mass-produced. My grandma was surprised when she saw my card book during my visit the other day. I recall sending her a photo of it back before I realised its purpose. She didn't seem concerned at the time, claiming that there might be a similar book in her room. It wasn't until she saw the real thing that she remembered having one that looks exactly the same. There's no way I would let that comment slip past. I asked if I could check it out while cleaning her room, which she agreed to. It took little effort to find, considering she remembered where it was. All I had to do was pull out a box from the bottom of her bookshelf and open it. Wow. This belongs to my grandmother's great-great-grandmother. That's what she told me anyway. That would mean that this has been around for over 100 years. Makes sense considering its wretched condition. The book's history alone makes it a pretty important relic. With that in mind, I took a deep breath before opening it. Dear my sister. Its contents are all written in English, which doesn't surprise me. My gran revealed that her own gran was from England, making her a quarter English. I was kind of amazed that she never once brought that up in the 16 years we spent together. When questioned about it, she replied that it's because I never thought to ask. Not only does this mean I'm 1/16th English, but it apparently also explains the gold colouring in some of my hair. Setting that aside, she also said that she never bothered to read the book because her grasp of English is poor, to put it nicely. It remained an important memo for her own gran, however, so she couldn't bring herself to throw it away. It's a diary. The first page is a simple brown flyleaf. Page 2 is where the diary starts. It's all handwritten, although the ink is starting to fade here and there due to its age. Can't say I'm too familiar with English writing habits, but something about the penmanship tells me it was written by a woman. That would mean it's my great-great-great-great-grandmother's diary. I placed my card book next to the diary before reading it. I should be able to read it just fine thanks to the card book's effect. Or not. Or not. It's kind of hard to pass with the writing so faint. When the writing's so faded. It takes me half an hour to make it through just 2 pages. The best comparison I can make is that it's like trying to read Japanese, except the kanji is all jumbled up. Not being able to make out certain phrases is what makes it harder to decipher, basically. For what I can get, though, it seems like a regular diary. She talks about food she ate, who she talked to, that kind of stuff. I was right about it being written about 100 years ago, so it's pretty interesting to learn the cultural differences between the early 1900s and today. It'll take a while to get through the entire thing at this pace, but plus, it might not say anything related to divine selection at all. It might be best if I just check whether or not diaries like this were sold at the time if I can find anything relevant by flipping through. Guess I should give it some more time? I'll read one more page tonight before bed, and then a few more tomorrow. That should be enough to decide if it's worth pursuing the rest or not. I noticed something curious when solidifying my plan. Oh, I almost forgot. This diary was made and given to me by my sister Diana for my birthday. That explains my earlier thoughts, although I figured it was more due to time taking its toll on the book rather than its craftsmanship. Now I'm even more curious about the link between it and our card books. It's definitely one of a kind. There was no internet back then, so they couldn't have published the design somewhere for others to easily replicate. The theory I had 10 minutes ago has already been proven wrong thanks to this. This diary might just have the answers I'm looking for. My gut is telling me I'm right. I doubt anyone would think otherwise when faced with these same mysteries. I had planned on studying tonight, but that can wait. Instead, I take the diary downstairs with me. I'll need the right environment to read through this beast. Ah, so maybe he did. Mahalo finds herself at Milk Crown for the first time in around 2 weeks. While the idea of a high schooler visiting a bar like this is problematic in and out of itself, Mahalo has already become accustomed to it. I managed to smooth things out just as promised. Frederico is already there by the time she arrives. He wastes no time in buying a drink, it seems. The bar's lighting reflects off the amber liquid in its glass. Okay. No. We agreed that he'd let me back in if I bought the most expensive whiskey on the shelf. It's damn good. Want some? Pretty sure he'd let it slide.
だから僕はお酒を飲まないよ。君にとっては残念かもしれないけれど、またミルクをもらってもいいかい?
I'm sure I made my intention to not drink clear last time. Sorry to disappoint, but could you just get me some milk? Her decision leaves him visibly disappointed, leading to him and the bar owner cleaning their glasses together on their own. Mahalo sighs in response, as Yona doesn't seem to care at all that Frederico has been barred once before now, that he's forking out a hefty sum of a drink. No. Right. Now for you and me to spend some time together. Yeah. Oh please, any more of that talk and I might become allergic to you. Frederico's attitude while drinking is much more in line with her previous image of him. She feels an odd sense of relief over this. Oh well. You said there were 2 issues with revealing Alan's cause of death, right? Fill me in on those first.
ああ。1つ目は、僕はアラン・スコーピオンの死因をカードに書かれている情報でしか知らないということだ。
Fine. The first issue is that I only know the contents of his cause of death card. She goes on to explain that she doesn't know the details behind how it happened. This means that Frederico will be unable to obtain a card even if she reveals it to him. Fine with me. I'm heading off to India soon to get as much info on him as I can. Really? Now, you think we're just gonna let some random person in, okay? Not gonna really work like that, Frederico. Scale only gave me the most basic of the basics, so I'm gonna visit his family and find out the details behind his cause of death and regret. Knowing the contents of the card itself will make that a whole lot easier. Are you serious? Damn right I am. It's the first thing Odette would do if she ever got stuck. Not like I could exactly imagine that ever happening to her in the first place. He urges her to tell him about the second issue. Before she can say anything more, he downs the rest of his drink and gets his glass refilled.
君が情報を集めなくてもアラン・スコーピオンは脱落する。おそらく彼はリンカに敗北するつもりだ。
Alan is going to be eliminated whether or not you gather information on him. It's likely that he wants Rinka to be the one to do it. Mahalo had already heard about how Scale targeted Rinka's grandmother, and how it was Alan who saved her. It was easy for her to deduce that Alan felt some sort of attachment to Rinka, based on both that and what she had heard previously. At the same time, his actions didn't seem like those of someone who intended to survive divine selection.
なるほど。だがそれは問題にならねえ。
Wow.
なぜなら俺の目的はあの透かした野郎を俺の手で脱落させることだからだ。
Hey, between you and him, I think the a-hole is you, Frederico. That's so. Not really an issue for me. I've only got one goal now. Eliminate him myself.
意地というわけかい。僕はアラン・スコーピオンを無視してリンカや僕を狙った方がいいと思うよ。
Rather stubborn, aren't you? You'd be much better off ignoring him and focusing on myself and Rinka.
悪いな。あんたの体に興味はあるが、あんたらにもう興味はねえんだ。
Yeah, that sort of talk will get you a quick punch to the face. Sorry, but I don't got no interest in you two right now. Unless it's that, of course. Mahalo can only think of one woman as she watches him laugh after making that comment. It leads her to understand why he felt like a different person before.
どちらにせよ、君にアランの死因を教えても僕たちにデメリットはないだろう。
Really?
約束を破るのは気が引けるからね。
Either way, it doesn't hurt us to reveal his cause of death to you, and I'd much rather not break our promise.
彼の死因は毒死さ。詳細はわからないが、有名若社長のアラン・スコーピオンなら想像もつく。君がこの情報をカード化するのはそう遠くない未来だろう。
Just when I think that they've stopped voice acting, another line appears. If I knew Japanese, this would be a whole lot easier. Gosh, it was poison. I don't know anything beyond that, but his fame shouldn't make it too hard to figure out. You'll be able to turn that into a card in no time.
ありがとうよ。さて、俺は明日の朝一の便でインドへ向かう。
No, you can do that on your own, Frederico.
世間話に付き合ってくれよ。
Cheers to that. With that out of the way, hang out with me till I catch my flight in the morning.
断る。高校生を何だと思っているんだい？
Yeah, I'll decline. Have you forgotten that I'm still in high school? Mahalo takes a breath before continuing.
しかし、今日は喉が渇いていてね。もう一杯ミルクを飲む間くらいは。
However,
話に付き合おう。
I suppose I can force down another glass of milk. I'll stick around until I finish that. There's a reason why she decides to save us. It's because she knows this will be the last time she and Frederico will ever cross paths in the real world. Mahalo goes straight to bed upon returning home. The next day, she manages to obtain Frederico's this was why. Frederico's regret card. She got it as she reflected on the events of the nights before while taking a bath. What's going to happen next, huh? I feel about ready to collapse when I'm only about one sip through the diary. I've always been a slow reader, but I'm probably going twice as slow thanks to the fadey writing. It's just your run-of-the-mill diary. That's about the only thing I can say after what I've read so far. I feel both guilty and slightly embarrassed reading it, since it feels like I'm peeking into someone else's life. Apparently, my great-great-grandmother's name was Linda. The vague similarities between it and my own name makes me feel a bond with her. Her dad was an English clockmaker. Both he and his wife moved to Japan before Linda was born. He visited Japan once before to instruct others about his craft, and it left quite a positive impression. The decision to move was a result of the company he had previously instructed offering him a permanent position. Linda was born not long after they moved, and her younger sister Diana followed the next year. I doubt that my grandma remembers much about Diana, and I'm just now noticing how well designed this diary is. My bias against the design, thanks to my cards book, got in the way of that. She must have been a nice person if she was willing to make something this nice for her sister. The contents of the diary itself gave the impression that they got along well. Part of me feels a bit jealous, since I didn't have any siblings. Now that I think about it, Haru and Naomi are the same. Mao has a younger brother, which makes her my only friend with a sibling. Anyway, I close the diary after glancing at my clock. I'll make sure to be nice and gentle so the spine doesn't crumble. This will probably take me all week to get through. Having decided to pick up where I left off today, tomorrow, I head up to my room. Okidoki. The train?
柄にもなくすがすがしい気分だ。あれだけ飲んだくせに二日酔いもありゃしね。
Can't believe I feel this good, despite how much I drank.
しかし、ミハルは本当に一杯で帰りやがったな。
Yeah, I can agree with that.
好きになる男が俺以外に現れたら
Actually, that would be impossible.
さぞかし苦労するんだろうな。
It's more Yuri than you think, Frederico. Well, Frederico thinks it's zero Yuri. Can't believe Mahalo went home after her drink too. The next guy that falls for her is gonna have a rough time, no doubt about it. Frederico chats aloud on a near-empty train. His destination? The airport. He finds himself thinking back on his life during the ride. Born in southern Italy, his life was an amalgamation of failures. As a child, he was often bullied. He was as thin back then as he was now, only shorter. It left him with no real means to defend himself. His attempts at retaliation resulted only in further beatdowns, both physical and verbal. He became a child who knew the taste of defeat well. At the same time, his parents had settled on a divorce after dealing with a lot of friction. Frederico wanted to stay with his mother. There was no deep reasoning behind it. He simply liked being around her more at the time. But even those feelings were linked to failure. The divorce was due to an affair on the mother's side. Naturally, Frederico had no involvement in it, but he considered his choice a failure regardless. His mother opted to move in with the man she was seeing and eventually married him. The wedding ring wasn't something she left to Frederico. He snatched it when he tumbled out of his garbage. Even so, he couldn't bring himself to part with it, as it represented his desire to see her once more. 20 years later, he finally realized it served to symbolize his inability to win his mother's love.
大切な指輪かと思っていたが、捨てちまってみると大して感傷もわからないぜ。
Funny how little I care now that it's gone.
母ちゃんがゴミ箱に捨てた時もこんな気持ちだったのかもしれないな。
Who knows?
一人の相手に一途になれない気持ち。
Maybe she felt the same way when she tossed it. I get how she wasn't able to devote herself to one person now, too. The first time he started dating someone was just after entering high school. She was a frank girl, one to always drag him around at her whim, while things appeared steady between them. It was all for nothing when she had to move away. Putting aside what he thought of those events, his high school life was nothing but failure, even when he was no longer the target of bullying. He was surrounded by people far more skilled than him in the soccer club. No matter how hard he tried to surpass them, he never could manage it. Even when he put his all into studying, he was never once able to get the best grades in class. Compounding those with the failures of his childhood led Frederico to become a child who would always hold himself back, not that he was aware of it. Much like how he was never aware of the misfortune it continued to cause him later in life. His fear of failure led to his decision to not apply to any universities, a reality that he continually denied. Instead, he started up his own business. This choice was spurred on by his father's death, which left him with a fairly large inheritance. The business itself wasn't complicated. Anyone with a good amount of money on their hands could do it. He loaned money to those who were struggling, attached a hefty interest rate, and then collected what he was owed at a later date. Of course, he made sure to choose his business partners as well, people who couldn't inform the police of his activities due to their having multiple debts or criminal records. In other words, those who had experienced failure on an even greater level than him. There were a number of ways to deal with those who wouldn't pay up. He could force them to visit other loan sharks, lay claim to whatever valuables they had, or simply beat the money out of them. In terms of profit, he was doing somewhat well for himself, until he ran into an issue that money couldn't solve, that was. He had been conducting business in the mafia's territory. Naturally, they weren't pleased. Those who crossed the mafia were likely to be racked with that snap of a finger.
今思えばあのゴリラ女の方がよっぽど恐ろしかったぜ。物理的にな。
That freak of nature was way more intimidating than they ever were. Physically, at least. In the end, Frederico's first business venture resulted in failure. There was only one way for him to escape his solution. He presented the profits he made to one of the mafia's higher-ups and become a member himself. He never held any significant positions there, but his abilities allowed him to bring a fair amount of money into the organization. He even began targeting landowners, convincing them to give up their land in exchange for social status. There was one issue, however. A majority of the money he made was funneled straight to the higher-ups, which ticked him off. That led to him laundering the organization's money by transferring it to a bank in Switzerland. Well, Switzerland is north of Italy. He set his eyes on a certain shipping company too, one he had dealt with before. Of course, it was no ordinary shipping company. They dealt in weapons, stolen goods, and much more. The boat itself was stateless, but its representative was a woman from France. They were effectively a group of independent mercenaries. Kind of amazing that they let me on in the first place, now that I think about it. Having discussed things with the captain of the ship, that being Odette Melancon, he settled on fleeing the country. The mafia itself was essentially a family-run business. Federico would never make it to the top in that environment, regardless of how hard he tried. Even so, all members had to make a blood oath upon joining, or they'd quit. All that awaited them was prison. Of course, one could not simply quit the mafia and expect to live, and thus, fearing failure once more, he chose to flee, only for the ship to be targeted by pirates, leading to both his and Odette's demise. Ain't nothing cool about being a loser even after dying. By reflecting on his past, Federico is able to lull himself to sleep until he arrives at his next stop. His mind is only on one thing: to gather as much information about Alan as possible before returning to Japan on Sunday morning. But he has yet to notice, though his life may have been steeped in failure, he's never given in. He's always struggled against that which most people simply accepted. Federico Carmanti is no loser in the game of life. He's not. He's made it this far, somehow, by no one electing him. I'll make sure to open the store today after school. I've been feeling better now that my grand's room is all neat and tidy. Once closing time comes around, I go about my usual routine before bringing the diary downstairs to read it. As always, I make sure to handle it with the utmost of care. And then I delve even deeper into the daily lives of Linda and Diana. Will the bell go at any point? Ah, the hotel. Oh, Alan. Alan finds himself staying at a hotel today. It is unusual for him to switch to one over the warehouse in Yokohama every now and then. The warehouse is perfectly fine for him. It does lack the facilities required to recharge his phone and laptop, however. Not that he can deny the pleasure that comes from sleeping on a comfortable bed. I couldn't bring myself to go today. While he had made a decision to visit Rinka yesterday, the store she was running was closed. Today, on the other hand, he simply couldn't bring himself to go. But if proof was needed for the butterfly effect of missing one's opportune moment, this would be it. It would have no influence on Alan under normal circumstances, yet he finds himself unable to operate as usual when it comes to
お
Rinka.
そらく今度が最後の
My next chance may be my last. He collapsed onto his bed and cast his mind back to the first participant he eliminated. Yeah.
ようやく会えたわね。
Chan. Hey, so we finally meet. This was the first ever participant to be eliminated. May the 3rd, Sunday, 3 days following the juncture of causality. Casualty. Alan had been called out to by a lone woman. Alan had received the explanation about divine selection from Pastor by this point, but he chose not to go to Japan until after the first round. The woman standing there him was Chan-Chan. She was the one that caused him to forego his decision and instead come earlier. It wasn't unusual for people he didn't know to request appointments with him, considering his position. These requests were typically ignored. However, he had no choice but to take notice when she brought up divine selection over the phone. While still somewhat suspicious, it was here he learned that a small number of people found themselves in a situation as him.
来てくれて嬉しいわ、ミスター・アラン。
I'm so glad you came, Mr. Allen. She stood a few meters away from him, her tone as confident as they come. In Alan's eyes, she seemed like nothing more than an average woman in her early 20s. Her appeal was simple, about what one would expect from on someone on vacation.
なぜ僕のことを知っているいや、僕が選定の参加者であることを知っている
How'd you know me? Rather, how'd you know that I'm a participant in divine selection?
あなたの名前が有名なことくらい自分で分かっているんじゃないの？
Come on, you know that you're famous, don't you?
2つ目の質問にはそうね、答えてあげるわ。私の初期カードのうち1枚があんたの使命。
To
あん
answer
たみたいな変な名前、そう多くはいないものね。
To answer your second question, sure, I'll fill you in. Just so happens that your name card was part of the initial cards I was dealt. Not many people with a strange name like yours, that's for sure.
でもね、あんたのことは昔から知っていたのよ。ウィリアム・リュウという男を知っているかしら？
I've actually known you for a while though. Do you remember a man named William Liu?
知らないな
It doesn't ring a bell.
そうだと思ったわ。
Figured as much.
ウィリアム、ビルはあなたの会社とも取引がある広告会社の営業担当よ。
William Bill, rather, is part of an advertising company that works with yours.
あなたとも会ったことがあると言っていたけれど、どうやら社長様は取るに足らない下請け業者のことなんて覚えていないようね。
He said he's met you in person, but I guess Mr. Boss doesn't have time to remember the lowly faces of all his subcontractors. The more the woman spoke, the less Alan cared to be bothered. He was never very good with those types, the one who gradually drifted off topic the longer they spoke. Was she a regular businesswoman? Would he had long gone? He would have been long gone, okay.
私はそのビルの婚約者よ。
But yes, so, I'm Bill's fiancé.
要件を早く話してくれないか
Care to get to
ミ
the
セスちゃん、
care to get to the point, Miss Chan?
あれ？あれ？どうして私の名前をあんたが知ってるのよ。
How'd you know my name? I don't remember telling you.
名前話してないよね。
Maybe she was also part of his initial deck.
君はわざわざ僕の会社に電話をしてきただろ偽名を使ったようだがせめて非通知でかけてくるべきだったな、
I recommend withholding your number if you plan to use an alias, at least when phoning a company. Excuse me? After he said that, Alan took out a single card. Chan was quite familiar with the card's design. 6. Name. Chan-Chan. She wasn't aware of the significance behind the numeral yet, but it was clear that her own name was written on it.
新しくカードが生まれる瞬間を僕はすでに目撃している
I'm afraid I've already borne witness to the moment a new card is produced.
ちょっとそんなのずるくない？個人情報とかどうなってんのよ。
Hey, in this game, that is of utmost priority. Okay? And hey now, isn't that cheating? What happened to protecting people's personal information? Alan remained silent in the face of her panic. He was aware that nothing would come from interacting with her as if things were normal.
でも名前でしょ。私なんてありふれた名前だし、どうせすぐにバレちゃうよ。
It's just my name though. Hard not to discover something so common.
そんなことより。
More importantly.
ちゃんちゃん。貴様の死因は転落死だな。
Oh my gosh. This is frightening. Chan-chan, you fell to your death, correct?
嘘。どうしてあんたが知ってんのよ。
No way, how'd you know? It was simple, really. Yeah, he was unable to determine who the card belonged to at the time, as he had yet to meet anyone else in the Court of Fate. However, he soon realized that each participant had an identifying numerical after he came to position Chan's name card. He had anticipated this by nature of his personal card to contain the numerical 12, but with this he was able to confirm it. Once he knew that Chan was numerical 6, he was able to link her cause of death and name.
私もしかして大事なこと言っちゃってた？
Because the numerical was linked to each card. Oh no, don't tell me I just said something I shouldn't have. Yeah, carelessness was a source of irritation for Alan.
使命を軽んじているならば、その考えは改めた方がいい。ただし、来世ではな。
One shouldn't make light of their name, of course. That's advice you'll have to consider in the next life. Alan was already an atheist, but the teachings of his parents seemed to carry a lingering influence on him.
は？何よ。あんたはまだ私の未練を分かっていないはず。それに。
I don't know why you're acting like you know my regret, but.
婚前旅行というのか。ただの旅行なのか知らないが、貴様はウィリアムと登山を楽しんでいた。登山といえど本格的なものではなく、ほとんどピクニック。
You were mountain climbing with William while on vacation. It was nothing too difficult, more of a hike than climbing, really.
しかし貴様たちは好奇心に負け、ルートを外れて崖の方へと向かった。そちらの方が景色がいいと思ったようだな。
However, curiosity got the better of you. It led to you veering off the designated route toward the cliff's edge in the hopes of a better view.
あんたなんで知ってんのよ。
Huh? What? How could you know?
ストーカー？
Were you stalking me?
やだやだ。あんた顔は悪くないと思うけど、ネクラっぽいから無理。そもそも私はビル一筋なんだから。
That's gross. I can't stand gloomy people like you, even if you have a handsome face. Besides, Bill's the only man for me.
おそらくこの転落死というのは、その時に足を滑らせたか何かだろうな。わざわざ立ち入り禁止の場所へ行ってその結末というのは、愚かという他はない。
As for how you fell to your death, I think it's fair to assume you slipped. Truly the definition of foolish for such a thing to happen after entering an off-limits area.
さいわね。っていうか、早くなんで私のことをそんなに知ってるのか教えなさいよ。
Shut it! Since you love talking so much, tell me how you know about. Well, tell me how you know so much about me.
心当たりがないのか。動転して見失っているのか。
I can't tell if you're clueless or if the panic is causing you to forget. Alan made sure to gather as much information on Chan as he could the moment he learned her name. He wasn't entirely convinced that divine selection was real, but the creation of the cards and existence of a card book that removed all language barriers convinced him not to deny it outright. Information provided one the upper hand when negotiating. That was the conclusion Alan had reached. It was why he did everything he could to gather information not only her, but his fiancé William as well, though he wouldn't admit to do such a thing. Half of what he told was information she herself had made public via rampant social media posts and updates. While the results of her form had clearly been undone, it wasn't difficult for him to put pieces together based on the information he had at hand.
いいわ。もう遊びは終わりにしましょう。
Well, whatever. Let's put an end to this farce. Chan wiped the sweat from her brow before whipping out a knife. It was a butcher's knife, around 20 centimeters in length. Her intent was, well, with it, clear as day.
私は生き残りたいのよ。ビルとの新婚生活が待ってるんだから。
I've got my life together with Bill waiting for me. I can't afford to die again. Really now. You're gonna be in for a nasty surprise. Chan. She raises the knife before dashing toward Alan. A mere 5 meters separate them. She would reach him at her speed in an instant. Chan was confident in her speed thanks to her having played tennis since childhood. What's more, Alan was the stereotypical rich boy. He had no means to defend himself. Or so she thought.
女神の選定の参加者は死なないと。
Yeah.
女神から聞いていないのか。
Were you not informed that participants cannot die via normal means? Alan dodged her with ease before twisting her wrist and stealing the knife from her grasp. He kept hold of her wrist, however, and brought the knife to rest against her neck. Ugh.
あれ、なんでこんな状況？ちょっと待とうよ。
That doesn't work, Chan. You had the intention of killing him, and now you're the one who wants to cut off this farce? Huh? How did this happen? Let's take a time out, okay?
信じていないというところか。もっとも、この点に関しては僕も試していないから信じてはいない。
You must not believe what the goddess said, I take it. Not that I would believe it before I've seen proof.
私やばくない？
But hang on a sec.
やばくない？
This isn't looking good for me, is it?
だ
I
って
mean,
さ、それで首の血管を切られたら私死ぬよ。あんた人殺しになっちゃうよ。
well, technically, your recreation would be undone, so therefore, physically, Alan wouldn't be. But mentally, he would because he remembered participating in that particular event. But Alan's not a murderer. Alan could hardly believe the words coming out of this woman's mouth after her own attempt to stab him. He knew that there would be no point in calling her out for it, however.
試してみるか。
Would you like to be my test subject? Don't, please.
助けて。
Disastrous hardly began to describe what transpired next, just as Chan screamed. William leapt out of hiding. He attempted to jump Alan, but Alan used Chan as a human shield. William could make no move in that situation, so Alan threw the knife away and pushed Chan toward him. They both fell over as she slammed into him, causing Alan to look down on them both.
ミスター・ウィリアム、今晩は最後の時を過ごすことだな。
Tonight is your final night with her, Mr. William. Spend it well. Saying that, he took out a third card. 6. Regret. Married life. Or should we say, lack of.
私の
My regret. Yes, so therefore, that would be the case. Because, Alan started out with Chan's regret card of his initial pack, then came to learn about her name, through social media probably, and then now we formed up the final card, which is the regret card. So having all three in place, it was no surprise as to how Alan was able to eliminate Chan so easily in the first round.
12人の中で君が最も愚かな参加者だろうな。
You are without a doubt the most foolish participant along the 12. Alan had lost all interest in Chan by that point. He picked up the knife and tossed it back to them. The last thing he wanted was to raise suspicion by carrying it around when he had only just arrived in Japan. Neither Chan nor William saw this as an opportunity, either. Their instinctual fear of him had taken over. Not even a gun would make them feel as though they stood on equal footing with him. Alan had no interest in what they did following that
こ
event.
の倉庫は使えるな。
This place may come in handy. Not only was it abandoned, but no one else seemed to be squatting there either. It's neither too close nor too far from the city. Should everything check out over the next few days, he would use it as his base of operations.
今ならあの必死さだけは理解できなくもないか。
Part of me can understand her desperation, at least. Alan lets his thoughts slip out as he stares at the hotel room ceiling. Okie dokie. We get that. Tuesday. 2 days after I've begun reading, I've made it through another fifth of the diary, I guess. With the diary of a girl living through the end of the Meiji period is interesting in its own right. The structure is inherently different from a novel. That makes the process of reading it pretty tiring. I did come across an interesting tidbit, albeit one unrelated to divine selection.
リンダさんたちも黒猫を飼ってたんだな。
They had a black cat as well. It had a leisurely attitude and seemed to be more attached to Diana than Linda. It would appear and disappear when it saw fit. By the sounds of it, it could have been Lily's great-great-grandcat. Oh gosh. They called the cat Leo, which is pretty similar to Lilith. One diary entry about how it once stepped from a piece of broken glass, leaving a scar on the paw of its front right leg. Meow. Speak of a devil, it's Leaf.
あんたもガラスには気をつけてね。実は踏んじゃってたりしないよね。
Hey, you should watch out for broken glass. You haven't walked on some already, have you? Meow. I try to approach, but Leaf runs off. Must have sensed something annoying was about to happen. I assume it's fine if it can still sprint like that. Following that, I close the diary and head back to my room. Once in bed, I start to think about what I should do from here on out. Let's put things into perspective. I have three main concerns at the moment. First and most importantly, finding a means for both Mahalo and me to survive. I've yet to reach a conclusion, but I'm sure that figuring out the mysteries behind divine selection itself is the right approach. I can't say for sure whether or not I've made any progress until I finish reading Linda's diary. The second concern is gathering information on Alan. This is a difficult one as well, especially when I don't understand his goal. I know for a fact that he holds no hostility towards me, but I hardly think he's willing to let me eliminate him just because of that. That's why I need to discuss things with him. I have no way to contact him, but something tells me he'll come to see me soon. My third and final concern is Frederico. I know both his name and cause of death, but have nothing to go on for his regret. I never talked to him in person. Yeah, I said that 2 episodes ago. No, the last episode, that I thought that between all of the main characters, aside some of the very early participants like Chan and the businessman guy that Odette punched, and besides that, Rinka and Frederico are the main characters but have never even talked to each other. Oh, a phone went off. Huh? Just then I received a text message. It's from Maharu. I've gathered all of Frederico's information. My shift starts later tomorrow, so do you mind if I come to Linehouse after school? The message itself is short, but I can't help but be amazed at her perfect timing. I text back, that works for me. I guess I could use that time to talk to her about the diary as well. I haven't hit a dead end quite yet. Forcing myself to believe it, I set my mind on getting some sleep. Is it gonna be a dream? Nope, it's school. Excellent. Mahalo and I head to Linehouse once classes have ended.
あれ、今日は羊さんはいないのかい?
Is Naomi not here today?
用事があるみたい。必要なことなら明日にでも伝えておくよ。
She had something else needed. Well, she said she had something else she needed to do. There we go. So I'll fill her in on anything important tomorrow. It's pretty rare for Mahalo to ask about Naomi. Divine selection requires us to fight our own fate, so maybe let's change her perspective of Naomi at some point. There wasn't much to what she said, but I could tell there was a slight difference in her attitude towards her. Anyway, it's just the two of us. Mal's probably told her that I'm waiting a bit longer before giving my answer, but even then, it still feels a bit awkward to be alone with her. You say. 30 minutes after we arrive at Linehouse, Mahalo leaves for work. We didn't discuss much, but she told me how she met with Frederico Monday night, and how she was able to deduce his regret from what they talked about. It didn't happen right away, but everything fell into place on Tuesday night, which led to her being able to materialise the card. I didn't ask about the card's contents, but I asked her to fill me in later, on the off chance that he's gathering information on me as well. He seems to have no intention of electing me according to her, but it can't hurt to be safe. I made sure to show Mahalo the diary too. Its existence took her by surprise just as much as it did for me. I told her that I'd pass any worthwhile information over to her once I'm done reading it. Just before she left, she offered her thoughts on it.
その日記帳は 僕にはどこか切り札のようなものに見える。
That diary may just be the trump card we've been searching for. There's no basis to her claim, but I happen to agree. After she left, I opened the store up for business. I wonder if there's going to be one particular customer. One that I'd like to see. Wait, no. Damn it! It's the following morning. Morning, Mao. Morning. Oh, gosh. Morning. Morning, Mao. Morning. Too bad we've got finals looming over us next week. Let's try and ignore that reality. Not to brag, but I haven't studied in the slightest ever since midterms. Midterms weren't much of an issue for me since they happened soon after divine selection began. But the same can't be said for finals. I actually considered using my card book to cheat my way through the English exam at least. But only total losers cheat. It's a fact that I don't have the time to study though. That's why I receive a text message. You're not technically allowed to mess with your phone on campus, but I'll break that rule today. It's from my gran. I heard that finals are coming up. Forget about the store for now and focus on studying. Make sure to send me your results too. Is she psychic? What's up? Get scolded by your gran? I don't need you reading my mind as well. Ah, so that definitely confirms it. A mere employee can't ignore their boss's orders. It's impossible to keep the store going without keeping in contact with her too. Running the store serves as a nice change of pace, so now I'm just depressed. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll keep reading the diary as usual, but I guess I can avoid failing if I use the time I normally would on the store for studying. In the worst case scenario, I'll ignore English and use my card, but no, bad Rinka. Regular life sure can be difficult. Yes. Once school has ended for the day, I return home to study. I put up an announcement about how the store will be officially closed until the week after next. Seems like one of my teachers got in touch with my gran after realising that I probably wasn't studying this time around. They're aware of my circumstances at home, so I can understand why they'd get in contact. No teacher can ignore students' poor grades. I'll have to keep on top of studying once divine selection is over as well. Otherwise I won't be allowed to keep running the store.
Naomi,
Hey Naomi, mind if we take a break? Sorry there, but I do need a screen for this video. Of course I mind. It's barely been half an hour since we started. You sure are strict today. Sorry, it's just, well, I didn't quite realize how bad your studying habits are. It was fine during entrance exams because I had a goal, but I can't find the same motivation for these regular tests. Yeah, that was actually at the beginning of the game. That's a bit surprising actually. Then again, you didn't exactly fare well on those English questions I quizzed you on before. Naomi's doing some considerable damage to my morale today. Not like I can blame her. Her upperclassman is actually pretty pathetic. Aww. Mahalu has to work today too. Makes me wonder when she finds the time to study, since she's also got divine selection to worry about. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Let's just focus on yours for now. And only yours. Yours, Rinka. Yes, you, right there on the screen. I'll let you take a break after an hour. Okay, let's do this. There's no point in avoiding it, so I decided to stick my head in some books. I used to study with Mao a lot during our first year, but we normally ended up just chatting. In that regard, properly studying with someone like this is a pretty novel experience. I don't want to disappoint Naomi either, so I'll focus for at least this first hour. What do you mean by at least?
少し休憩にしましょう。
I knew you could do it. You've earned a little break now. An hour and a half later, Naomi finally offers me entrance to the oasis known as a break. It was supposed to happen at the 1 hour mark, but I couldn't bring myself to mention it when the time came. Knowing her, she probably didn't want to interrupt me because she thought I was focused. Equally admirable and depressing, considering that wasn't the case at all. We spend a break talking and snacking. The topic switches to device selection at some point. I tell her about how Maharu had gathered all of Frederico's information and about the diary I found. After mentioning it, I head upstairs to grab it. I'll place it down right beside my card book. It's almost like a before and after
こ
comparison.
れなんだけど
Here it is.
100年以上前の本。はあ、本当に同じ想定ですね。それも手作りなら私たちが調べても見つからないわけです。
Wow, a book over a century old. It really does look the same as your card book too, and it's entirely handmade. No wonder we couldn't find anything about the design.
それで
Look at that face. I've never seen that before. Do you mind if I smell it? Huh?
ちょっとだけなので。あ、触るときに手袋とかいらないんですか？
You're asking Rinka that, Naomi? Really? Just a quick whiff? Oh, do I need to put on gloves or something before touching it?
ここまで気にしてなかったけど今読んでるしね。
I never bothered to do that, not even while reading it.
先輩、もっと大事にしましょうよ。それで読み終わったら私も読んでいいですか？
You might want to treat it with a bit more care. Also, do you mind if I read it once you're done?
いいけど私が読み終わったら内容話しちゃうよ。
You sure you want to when I'm gonna talk about the contents after I'm done?
いいんです。そんな昔の本を読めるだけで幸せなので。
Rinka, you should probably mention it's a diary. That's fine. Reading something this old is thrilling in and out of itself. Seeing Naomi this excited is pretty surprising. At the same time, I realised that a diary would be in peril if I leave it here. Back up to my room it goes. She couldn't keep her eyes off it as I took it away too. Guess it puts just how much she loves books into perspective.
すみません。つい。
She truly is a bookworm. Sorry, I got a bit carried away.
あ、いつものナオミだ。よし、じゃあそろそろ勉強再開しよっか。
Back to your normal self, I see. Let's see. Let's keep studying. That said, we settle down on another hour of hitting the books. Hitting the books. Hitting the books. Alan, you're gonna need to visit us at some point. Saying that this will be your final opportunity in your head. We study until around 8 PM, taking infrequent but always welcome breaks.
私、そろそろ行きますね。
There's no much more of a threat around now that Scale is gone. And I don't think Alan would actually do something this unlawful anymore. And Frederico's away. Gosh, it's so weird having so few threats now. I should probably get going now. Naomi starts packing up to leave. She couldn't stop herself from smiling after learning just how much Rinka dislikes studying. It has no effect on her impression of Rinka, but seeing this side of her has been a nice surprise. To Naomi, the day was endless fun. What's more, a certain desire continued to blossom within her as the days have gone by, with a desire for things to continue like this, for her memories of these days to remain intact. Naomi isn't a participant in divine selection, that's why retain her memories carries the same value as Rinka and Maharu's survival. There's no end to the burden caused by those feelings of hers.
よかったら明日も一緒に勉強しませんか？
Would you like to study together tomorrow as well?
もちろん。明日はマオとミハルも来るかもね。
I'd love to. Mao and Maharu might join us too. Rinka gives her answer with a smile. Great! And Naomi responds in kind. Now we're on the outside. After exiting Linehouse, Naomi spots a nearby man muttering to himself. Shock overcomes her the moment she sees his face.
何？しばらく休みだと。
Closed for several weeks. This isn't good. It's Alan Scorpion, numerial 12 in Divine Selection, one of the 4 remaining participants. Naomi has seen him once before at the hospital. when dealing with Keiko. Keiko? The hospital? The name Kambachi Keiko causes her mind to flash back to two desperate memories. One involves Naomi collapsing from anemia after paying a visit to hospital. The other involves going to the hospital with Rinka to approach Keiko and learn more about her. Following this, she was attacked by Alan, who had the same goal in mind. What's more, the things she heard from Rinka are mixed into both memories. The confusion caused Naomi to collapse to her knees. She can feel her mind failing to pass which memory is real and which is fake. You're... Noticing something is amiss, Alan rushes over to her side. He seems to remember her clearly. Are you okay? She cannot comprehend why he's showing concern for her. It might have made sense if he considered her Rinka's underclassman, but the genuine tone of worry in his voice is confounding. The Alan she is gradually becoming to remember was never this kind. This realization causes her to suffer even more. Rinka's still inside. She somehow fights through the pain to speak. Strangely enough, she doesn't feel that she should keep him away from Linehouse at all costs. Doorbell. Around 10 minutes after Naomi leaves, someone else pops into the store. An unexpected person in an unexpected situation to boot. Get a bed and some water ready. Huh? Alan is carrying Naomi with one arm and cradling her neck and the other behind her knees. The surprise fades once I notice that Naomi doesn't seem to be feeling right. This isn't the time to ask questions, so I'll get some water and take her upstairs to my room. The idea of having Alan come into my room isn't all that thrilling though, so I ask him to wait downstairs. Once I came back downstairs, I noticed Alan standing there with a bitter look on his face. How is she?
意識はあるけど頭痛がするみたい。頭痛薬とお水を飲ませたから1時間くらい様子を見る。
She's conscious, but it seems like a migraine. I've given her medicine and water, so I'll check back after she rests for an hour. I'll make sure to call and let her mum know. I'll tell her that she's sleeping here at the moment due to her not feeling well.
ありがとうございます。でもどうしてナオミを？
Well, thanks for that, I guess. Why did you help her?
この店の前でいきなり倒れたようだ。目の前で倒れられたら見捨てるわけにはいかない。
I noticed her ready to collapse outside the store. I couldn't just ignore her.
親切なことに正直驚いた。
That's
ごめんなさい。
surprising,
もっと冷酷な人だと
in all
思ってたか
honesty.
ら。
Sorry, but I thought you were a colder person. Perhaps that's not the wisest thing to say to someone who willingly knocks out nurses and eliminates participants without a second thought. But now he's helped both me and Naomi. That's why I feel comfortable enough to speak my thoughts.
やっと話してくれるんだね。
You're finally here to discuss things, aren't you? The fact he's here means he has business with me. I expected him to come, though. I didn't think it'd be this early. I assumed it would have been either Saturday or Sunday. Hey, indeed. He looks quite composed, though. Indeed.
君は何度も僕の行動を不可解だと思ったことだろう。
I'm here to provide the answers
そ
you
の答えを与えに来た。
I'm here to provide the answers you seek regarding my actions.
あの日、夜の病院で華奢で無力な君が僕に立ち向かう様を見て、その瞳を見て思ったことがある。
There was a certain connection I made that night in hospital when you stood up to me despite how little you could do.
君の瞳は僕の妹に似ている。
The look in your eyes resembled that of my younger sister's. There's a certain gentleness to his expression as he admits this.
僕には4人の弟と1人の妹がいる。弟たちはまだ小さいが、妹の年はちょうど君と同じくらいだ。
I have 5 younger siblings. 4 of them are much younger brothers, but my only sister is just around your age.
妹の名前はアムリタ。僕と違って妹たちは両親から受け継いだ使命を名乗り続けている。
Her name is Amrita. Unlike me, my sisters continue to use the names our parents gave them. My mind flashes back to something Alan mumbled during his sleep after fighting with Detty. Amrita. It is his sister's name.
ちなみに君よりも顔立ちも発育もよく聡明だ。
No. Allow me to add that she's far better looking and smarter than you. Hey
ちょ
now.
っと
だが君たちは根源的に似ている。誰よりも意志の強い瞳も感情的になった時の深さも。
Still, you two are inherently similar. Your strength of will, your tendency to put yourself at risk by letting your emotions take over.
弟たちは僕と同じように強く成長するものと確信している。僕は男だ。血のつながりというのは強い。それに男の気持ちはよくわかる。
This guy seems so hostile when we first knew him, but he just seems so comfortable to be around nowadays. I'm certain that my brothers will grow up to be like me. That much is obvious through both our bond as family and as men.
だが心配なのはアムリタだ。あの性格では仕事も結婚も不器用にしかできないだろう。
Gosh, on the other hand, I worry for Amrita. I can only imagine how she will handle work and marriage with that personality of hers. His regret. My card book begins to shine all of a sudden. One card materializes. Number 12, regret. Sister's future. Having seen the gentle expression he shows from time to time, I'm not very surprised at the card's content. If anything, it proves how well I've come to understand Ellen.
どうして私に自分の未練を教えたの？
Why would you reveal your regret to me?
君に生きてほしいと思ったからだ。
Because I want you to live.
だって
But,
構わない。これが僕の結論でもある。
Alan... It's fine. This is a decision I've made for myself.
だが君にはこれから僕の人生を背負ってもらい僕たちの物語に終止符を打ってもらう。
Just like the others we've shouldered, I shall remember you and shoulder you like we've done before. I won't give my life for free though. I want you to shoulder the weight that accompanies it and finally bring an end to our story. He tells me about his past next. His mother died from illness when he was still a child, while his father was killed due to a grudge involved shady business practices. Alan soon took over his father's business connections, discarding both his name and religion in the process. Even his country's traditions soon became a nuisance to him. He built his own business from scratch and turned it into an undeniable success.
だが僕は会社を大きくする過程で多くを切り捨ててきた。物も人も。
The larger the company
恨みを
grew,
買うという性質は生を捨てたぐらいでは変わらなかった。
the larger the company grew, the more I sacrificed, the more people I threw by the wayside. I may have changed my name, but I still took after my father when it came to making others hold a grudge against me. Alan's father.
僕の死因は毒死だ。皮肉にも父と近しい方法で暗殺をされた。
Poison was my cause of death, a similar assassination method to that of my father's, ironically enough. There's no change in his tone as he discusses how he was killed. And that as well. My card book shines once again, materializing his cause of death card.
殺された。
That's awful.
君が想像している以上に世の中には不審死というまま処理される暗殺が多い。
But are far
僕が
more...
脱落した場合もおそらく暗殺とは処理されないだろう。
There are far more assassinations covered up the world over than you would expect. The same will likely happen to mine when I'm eliminated. He mentions he had to deduce his own cause of death after it had been undone. Nobody would have known they've been poisoned until after it kicked in, I guess.
僕はずっと君にアムリタの姿を重ねて見ていた。困っている人がいたら放っておけないおせっかいさや流されやすさもあったな。
Your each and every action has reminded me of Amrita, from the way you refused to abandon those in need to how easily influenced you are.
一方で友人のために邁進する気概も持ち合わせている。 君のおばあ様がスケールに襲われた時もそうだ。
That fierce
君は
determination.
彼女たちを救うことしか考えていなかったはずだ。
That fierce determination of yours when it came to not only your friend, but your grandmother as well. You wanted nothing but to save them, isn't that right?
でも私は私、アランさんの妹じゃ。
But I'm not your sister, Alan.
無論
I know that.
分かっている。だが根本は同質だ。
However, the similarities are undeniable. There's little I can say when I don't know his sister personally. Alan presses on, unconcerned about how perplexing this whole scenario is for me. My thoughts are likely irrelevant to him. This isn't the logical side of Alan talking. These are his emotions.
僕は会社の人間を信用していない。あらかじめ僕が死んだ際には家族を次の社長に据えるように文書を残していた。
I don't trust a single person in my company. That's why I left a letter stating that the next in line would be one of my family.
つまり年齢的に言って僕の妹アムリタが次の社長だ。心配だったよ。アムリタは優しく脆い。人の悪意と欲望が渦巻く中でうまくやっていけるかとね。
She'll probably stay in a particular similar scenario as Rinka is at the moment. Rinka runs a coffee shop, but then again, Alan's business is on a much larger scale, I'm sure. And also, I've come across a few coffee shops in my time and it always seems pretty friendly. Besides the customers, I mean. Age-wise, this would fall to Amrita, hence my worry, you see. I'm still not sure how well she would do in a position that involves dealing with the uglier sides of people.
私と同い年で社長に。
I can't imagine someone my age being the CEO of a huge company.
ああ、だが君を見ていたら少しだけ安心することができた。自分の弱さを自覚しているけれど無自覚に強い芯を持っている。
I thought the same at first. Meeting you has helped assuage some of my concerns. She's aware of her shortcomings and yet entirely blind to her own strength of heart, much like you.
人の心を動かすことができる。信用できる友を作ることができる。自分の瞳の力を疑うのであれば、目の前にいる僕を証拠にすればいい。
Both of you hold the ability to move others. If you doubt that for even a second, then look no further than myself as proof. People like you will have no issue finding people to whom you can trust yourselves. His gaze is locked onto me as he speaks. Our eyes may be meeting, but it's not me he's looking at. He's using me as a window to see his sister.
買いかぶりすぎ。それに私はそんな責任持てない。
I'm not nearly as amazing as you're making me out to be. Besides, I don't have it in me to shoulder a responsibility like that in the first place.
構わないさ。これは僕の決断だ。
No matter. I've made my decision.
もっとも利益を生み出すという意味でアムリタが僕より上を行くことはないだろう。失敗も多くするかもしれない。だが僕とは違った成長を生むはずだ。
The company itself may not fare any better in her hands, and she's likely to fare along the way. That's fine, though. I trust that she'll lead it in a different direction than I did.
そして何より僕のように暗殺されることはないだろう。究極的に言えばアムリタが長生きしてくれればそれでいい。
Most importantly, I can't see anyone willing to kill her like they did me. So long as she's able to lead a long and fulfilling life, that's all that matters.
アランさん。
Alan.
無論まだまだ心配は尽きない。けれどそこに希望を見ることができた。
I still have my
この
concerns,
僕
of
は希望
course,
を見たんだ。
but I also have hope
その意
now.
味がわからない君ではないのだろう。
Surely you understand the significance of that. His expression changes once again to one I've never seen before. Unbelievable. I never thought he'd have it in him to express such a brilliant smile. His every word and action in relation to his sister just show how much he cares for her. Oh gosh. But I can tell this is how those who do feel about them.
何がおかしい？
What are you smiling for? I don't realize I am also smiling until he points it out. He's strict, but he's kind and reliable. He always seems a bit desperate despite his intellect. Part of me is envious of Emery's from getting a brother like him. What a weird situation. No reason, I guess. Right. Who'd ever thought that I'd ever come to think about him like this? Well, guess it's my fault. I never bothered to try and understand him after what happened at the hospital that day. But he's always been kind to me after that. At his home, when he helped me stop you, and even when he saved my gran. I'm at fault for never seeing him for who he really is. What happened to seeing how far my mindset could take me?
言っただろう。君の生き方が通用した結果が今の僕だと。
I've already seen it. That's why I'm here now. Alan pauses briefly before posing a question.
見張るヘビナタとの決着はどうするつもりだ？
What will you do about Miharu? His question takes me by surprise. No, not the question itself, but the realization that he truly does understand me. There's no reason for me to hesitate though. I only have one answer to give. I'll ensure that we both survive. Good.
いい答えだ。アムリタも、獅子舞凛花ならそう答えるはずだから。
Good. That's what I want to hear. And Rita would no doubt say the same.
私の入れるコーヒー、美味しいんです。最後に飲んでいきませんか？
How about some coffee before you go? I can guarantee you'll like it. That sounds good. It is supposed to be a simple offer, but my wording may have given it more weight than intended. I doubt Alan fails to catch it either.
ちょっとだけ
Okay.
待っていてくださいね。
It shouldn't take too long. I'm going to make this the best coffee I've ever brewed. Nah. No words are exchanged as he drinks his coffee. It's not an awkward silence or anything. Words simply aren't needed. Our relationship doesn't extend beyond our status as participants in divine selection. We're not friends, we're not lovers, we're not enemies, we're not even siblings. But that's why this works.
ごちそうさま。僕はコーヒーがあまり好きではないが、美味しいと思ったよ。
I'm not much of a coffee fan, but I'd be lying if I said that wasn't pleasant.
ありがとう。
Thanks. He pauses, stands, and then continues.
そろそろ君の後輩の様子を見に行った方がいい。
It's about time you see how she's doing.
そのつもり。
I was thinking the same.
君は何人もの人生を託されてきたのだろう。それでも強く生きたいと望むのは君にしかできないことだ。他人の人生など重荷に過ぎないだろうに。
Only you could make the decision to live your life to its fullest while shouldering the lives of others. Anyone else would see them as little more than a burden.
私は一人じゃないから。重荷じゃなくて力に変わった。
I might have thought that way under normal circumstances, but those burdens have helped me realize that I'm not alone.
肉体において人間は常に一人だ。だからこそ一人ではないと信じられることが君の強さなのだな。
Two people cannot comprise with the same body, though your belief that you're not alone despite this is part of your strength.
アランさんだってずっと一人じゃなかったはず。でしょ？お兄ちゃん。
I'm certain you haven't been alone either, right, bro?
冗談はよしてくれ。言ったはずだ。アムリタは君よりも才気間髪で器量も良いと。
Oh please, I've already made it clear that Amrita far outclasses you in every respect.
何より僕は君の生き方を認めるまでアムリタを信じてやれなかった。その意味で僕はやはり一人だった。
Still, your claim is one I have to deny. It wasn't until I accepted your way of life that I was able to trust in Amrita.
君に頼みがある。
I have a favor I'd like to ask of you.
はい。
Go ahead.
僕は日本へ来るとき、僕のルーツに関わるあらゆるものを置いてきた。だから君に預けられるものは何もない。
I abandoned my roots in my past when I came to Japan, thus, I have nothing I could leave to you.
しかし、刻んでくれ。君の人生の奇跡に僕を。
In exchange, I ask
歪ん
that
だ
you
運命の
remember.
中で君と出会えた奇跡を。
Not just myself, but the miracle that led to our paths
ア
crossing.
ムリタさんに会いには行かないんですか？
Aren't you going to see Amrita?
君には関係のないことだ。君は獅子舞凛花だろ。
That's of no concern to Shishimai Rinka, I believe. I give Anne an understanding nod in response. I'm certain that I would have hesitated to elect him had he given me a proper answer, regardless of what it was. He's made sure to put a wall between us. I understand why, though. That's his way of making things easier on both of us. His objective accomplished, he takes his leave. My eyes remain locked on him, even as he fades into the darkness outside. It's because I know this is the last time I'll ever see Anne and Scorpion in the real world. Excuse me. Not long after he leaves, Naomi comes downstairs.
ナオミ、具合は大丈夫？
Naomi, are you feeling better?
はい、心配かけてすみません。大丈夫です。それよりごめんなさい。
I'm fine, yes. More importantly, I have to apologize to you. She pauses before pulling her eyes away from me.
聞いちゃいました。アラン・スコーピオンさんと話していたこと。
I heard your conversation with Alan.
勘違いしてました。
He's so much more kind than I thought.
あんなに優しい人だったんですね。お礼も言わなきゃいけないのに。も
I want to thank him for helping me, but it's too late.
大丈夫。
Don't worry about that. It's all I can think to say to her.
彼はミハル先輩がフェデリーコ・カルミナーティさんの情報を揃えていることに気がついていたんでしょうか。次の選定で先輩とミハル先輩と2人が残るようにするために。
He has to have known that Mahalu collected all of Frederico's cards. Now he's made sure that only you and she remain after the next
そう
round.
だね。
Yeah,
きっと。
I don't doubt it.
彼が脱落したら私は忘れちゃうんですね。今日助けてもらったこともやっと知った彼の優しいところも。
I'm going to forget everything about him once he's eliminated, aren't I? Not just about him helping, but his kindness as
だから
well.
私が刻むんだ。
Hmm.
彼のことを。
That's why it's my job to make sure I never forget.
そしたら必ず教えてください。私が忘れてしまっているはずのことを。
In that case, please tell me about him after that fact. Make me remember what I shouldn't.
もちろん。だって私一人じゃ背負いきれないから。
Of course, I want to be able to handle it all if I didn't. Naomi grips my hand tightly in hers. Her memories take a considerable blow since she's helping me despite not being a participant. Though that makes me question why the system that rewrites people's memories is so flawed. If past is the one who made it, then I want to lodge a complaint. It's far too cruel. There's more to life than the beat of one's heart. It's our experiences that makes us who we are. That's why changing or making people making people forget these experiences is just as bad as outright killing them.
私まだ具合が悪いみたいです。
Do you,
だから今日は止めてもらえませんか？
do you mind if I stay over tonight? I'm still not feeling too well, honestly.
いいよ。
Hmm.
ただお母さんにはちゃんと連絡しておきなね。
Sure, I don't mind. Just make sure to tell your mum first. She's obviously faking it. Not like it matters to me, though. If anything, I don't want to spend the night alone. Nah. Good. The next day has arrived. Saturday, 2 days later. What? 2 days later? Okay. So we're going to end this off today, folks. And we're going to see each other's in the next time of Fatal 12. That's a bit of a surprise. I really wanted Alan to be the one we eliminated after Frederico rather than before Frederico. But that's just one of those things. But have a good day, folks, and take care of yourselves.